When we talked about doing fans versus favorites, Cochran was one of the first names that came up because in so many ways he represents everything good and bad and fun and silly about Survivor.
I'm legitimately nervous about my fate. I think I'll either be one of the first couple of people voted off, or you're gonna see me go very, very far.
This is not a guy who should be on this show. His skin has never seen sun. He doesn't know how to find food or fish. He's afraid of the water. But on any given day, anybody can do anything in this game. And that's why we want Cochran back. Some people found Cochran to be a betrayer. Other people found him to be a pretty decent player. I'm really curious which way he's gonna go this time.
I'm still gonna be horrible in challenges. I'm still gonna be, not particularly helpful around camp. It's kind of a bittersweet thing. I voted out Dawn, and Brandon voted out me.
Every season of Survivor is a story. There are main characters, sidekicks, comic reliefs, and villains. A good season of Survivor tells a compelling story with characters you love and characters you hate in hopes that it all ends in a satisfying conclusion. Each story we look at together will go through one character's journey from beginning to end while analyzing every character moment and strategic move to determine whether they were a hero or a villain and whether they were a good or bad strategist. And with that, welcome to Once Upon an Island. For reference, we are only observing and analyzing the story that is being told through the show. No future seasons will be mentioned, but I may include secret scenes and behind the scenes footage from the season to enhance said story. Now with that,
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor.
Season 26 of Survivor sees the show in the Philippines for the second time ever. And for the second time ever, they're also doing the fans versus favorites twist. Our protagonist for this story is John Cochran, back from season 23 South Pacific as a favorite, of course, along with Dawn and Brandon Hance from his season. Despite this being 3 seasons later, it is filmed only a year after season 23, and that makes me wonder, did Cochran have enough time to learn from his last outing? Will he be less annoying and make less mean remarks and make better decisions? Well, we're about to find out. As Cochran gets off the chopper, someone yells out, "Nerd alert!" And I mean, who would say such a thing as a fan, right? Though, I mean, it's true, but like, who's saying that? Come on now. We then get our first reward challenge. And when he pairs up with Francesca, he's out there facing off against Laura and...
Cochran, you take her. Cochran, you stay with her.
Cochran, you're gonna have to take her now. Taking me, Cochran?
What's that?
You think you can handle me?
You wouldn't believe what I can handle.
Cochran is the same goofy self from last time. They win reward, and upon arriving at their camp, Philip Shepard, Special Agent Question Mark, is playing the Boston Rob rules that he made from watching Boston Rob. And one of those rules is apparently doing a 2.0 version of the Stealth RS Alliance where he loops in Cochran as the intelligence officer. This is positive as the Stealth RS Alliance has 6 people out of the 10 on their tribe. That first night at camp, Cochran says, "I'm feeling a bit on edge," and Brandon says, "I know you need, Cochran," and he gives him a hug, and Cochran's like, "Whoa, hey, oh, you're in a good mood. That's good." And hey, the love continues for Cochran as even Francesca, when talking to Brenda, says, "We can trust Cochran. He's a solid dude." Now that's in a secret scene, but still, she said it. So when everyone wakes up the next day,
Weather-wise, this is not my environment. I was not aware how quickly I could become sunburned.
The sun is constantly roasting you.
My entire body, head to toe, literally my toes are sunburned. Sorry.
Oh my gosh!
Cochran is like a little tomato right now. He is all bright red all over the place, and he's swollen like a little pregnant lady.
I can't do it. And I feel like crying, kind of, but I'm, trying to stay strong. I mean, my new persona is strong, a little bit of swagger, a little more confidence. I can't be the same freak I was last time.
how? How did this happen? I don't remember his body responding like this the last time he played. So what is this? And believe it or not, it gets worse for Cochran. Their tribe loses immunity, and just like that, the favorites tribe, a questionable label for them I might add, have to vote someone off. But in the meantime, Corinne gives Cochran a wet buff to help him cool off, and he's his usual self-deprecating self, which makes everyone laugh. And kind of in a way, it lowers his threat level. You can't take this guy seriously. Cochran then talks it on because at the moment, it looks like the vote is gonna be between Philip or Francesca, with Cochran and Dawn potentially being the swing votes, debating on which side they should vote with. Dawn says, "Whatever we do, Cochran, I trust you to the end." Okay then, so they all vote a tribal, and
First vote, Andrea. Andrea. 3 votes, Andrea. Andrea. That's 4 votes, Andrea. Francesca. 2 votes, Francesca. That's 3 votes, Francesca. Francesca. We're tied. Francesca. First person voted out of Survivor fans versus favorites. Francesca. Francesca, the tribe has spoken.
Okay.
do you want to tell me what videos I should make? Well, the patrons on Patreon get to do that every month. You also get to watch everything I make up to 7 months early and join our Survivor Fantasy League if you join us on Patreon. There's a link in the description. Thank you for your support. Now with that, dang, they really voted off Francesca first. Twice. I mean, Cochran didn't do it twice, but he did the second time. He knew she was the first boot in her last season. Brandon says that is one of the harshest and worst things he's ever seen in his life, and he was in a gang. He specifically tells Dawn, mostly Dawn I gotta add, and Cochran that this is why they will lose the game. Brandon is mad, but we all saw him last time. Give it a few hours and he'll be as cheerful as a daisy again. I say that, and then Brandon proves me wrong when he tells Eric that he's feeling revengeful and wants to go full Russell Hantz on everyone, and even tells Cochran he was on the verge of taking their beans and rice and dumping it. All over the Francesca vote? Really? A lot has happened since the last time Brandon played on Survivor, and he's clearly carrying that with him on his shoulders. Cochran then compares Brandon to a sociopathic murderer who has 2 extremes to his personality, and I get where Cochran's coming from. 1 minute Brandon's in a great mood, the next minute he's flying off the handle. We then see, and mind you, this is to Brandon's face what we're about to see. We then see Philip openly compare himself to Boston Rob. Oh, the audacity. And he calls himself the CEO of their tribe and tells Brandon that at best, he's middle management. Dude, really? Wow, I can't believe Philip just said that straight to his face. Their tribe wins immunity, and the next episode sees Cochran sucking up to the show in such a blatant way that I don't think we've ever seen before on the show. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, Cochran knows what they want to hear when he says, playing Survivor is like tuning in on Wednesday nights at 8 on CBS, except instead of tuning in for 1 hour a week, he gets to be here 24 hours a day, so it's like Survivor all the time, and boy is it amazing. What a suck up. We then get some rustles of who should go next on their tribe when Philip says he wants Corinne gone, and Andrea talks to Cochran about getting Corinne out as well, since Andrea trusts Cochran. But in all reality, they should be voting off Brandon, right? He's still ticked off. He has not calmed down and tells Eric they should go nuclear and burn the camp to the ground. Wow. Their tribe wins reward and immunity, and with that reward they get Tata the Bushman, who is something else.
So the favorites won the reward challenge, and we got to have a local bushman come to camp and introduce us to ways of improving our camp and actually physically improving it for us, as well as cooking a great feast for us. As we got to form as much of a rapport as you can form with somebody like Tata the Bushman.
Oh yeah!
Tata's a married man, but that didn't seem to impede him from really trying to get his bump and grind on with the girls of the favorites tribe. Since he's kind of this bizarre little woodland creature, he gets away with it. If I tried that, I'd seem like I was some creepy predator. The girls found it delightful. They even were all kissing him on the cheek, which I'm sure will provide him with fodder for years to come in his mind and heart.
Tata gets all the ladies. That night, despite the great success of the favorites tribe so far, Brandon says, I'm done. I want to quit and go home and see my wife and kids. Yes, believe it or not, at the age of 20, Brandon has a wife and multiple kids. That's a lot for that age. And he says he wants to apologize because I was gonna burn down the shelter and pee in the beans and rice. I mean, my goodness, this is like the 5th time he said something like this. Get him out of here. Let him quit. But then the next morning, Brandon unquits. Dude flip-flops his emotions constantly, and I can't really blame him. He needs some help. They then win reward thanks to Philip. In fact, Philip has been the hero who has won them 3 challenges in total. I failed to mention that, but it's important because it's gonna come up later. Do you think Brandon cares that Philip's actually accomplished that? No, he just hates that Philip is showboating about it. And this is the final straw for Brandon.
This Philip and Brandon rivalry, it's getting to me. I woke up this morning. Who starts the fire? Brandon starts the fire. Who's the only dude in this tribe who can start a fire with a piece of flint? Brandon. So I don't need no old 54-year-old punk bitch telling me don't bite the hand that feeds you. He doesn't feed me. I'm a Hans. I feed me.
No, Brandon.
Come on, Brandon.
Brandon, out now.
Got him. Stop it.
Stop, there's lots.
Hey, Phil. Here's a reason to vote me out, you little... Huh? With your stealth all rust bull... Huh? I'm the author of my fate, buddy. I'm the author of my fate.
The first time I watched that scene, I was shocked, as I'm sure most of you were, but in retrospect, all the signs were there from episode 2. He brought up ruining the camp at least 5 times, and that was on the edited show. Imagine the footage they didn't include of him talking about this in one way or another. So what are the favorites to do if they win immunity? I have no idea. So at the challenge,
We realize that this is going to be a challenge for immunity, and it's for that reason that we're going to forfeit the challenge so that we may go to tribal.
Let me help you out a little bit, okay? They don't respect anything about the fans. That's bull, Corinne. Complete bull.
Okay, Brandon.
Don't play miss, I'm cool with the fans, period. And Philip speaks so highly of himself. Stop talking about yourself. Boston Rob took you to the end of the game. You didn't do anything. You were made fun of, and you come here and you tell me don't bite the hand that feeds you? I feed myself.
You need to grow up.
You need to shut up.
Okay, why don't we just cut to the chase? We're having tribal council right now. You good with this?
I'm good with it.
All right, 6th person voted out of this game. Brandon Hans.
yes, that was indeed the right call. Brandon is clearly unstable and has been all season. I only hope he can get some help. One day I hope to cover his entire story, as there is a lot to unpack here with him. Episode 6 sees them swapping tribes as Cochran stays with Dawn, Philip, and Corinne, along with 3 fans, one of those fans being Matt, who Cochran says, hey, I like Matt's tattoos. They're unlike Brandon's. Matt's are actually legit art. Shots fired. They lose immunity, and back at camp, talks are abound about which fan to vote out, and Cochran says,
Juliet, on the other hand, is such a non-entity out here. I'm tempted to say that she has like a vanilla personality, but I feel like that would be doing a great disservice to the flavor vanilla. I mean, people actively seek out vanilla-flavored products. Children clamor to get a vanilla ice cream cone. Nobody's clamoring for anything Julia flavored.
There's the mean Cochran we saw more of last time. I knew it was happening. We just hadn't been shown it yet. He covers it in humor, but he's mean. Cochran wants her gone, but upon seeing how close Matt and Michael are as a duo, he knows that one of them needs to go instead. So they all vote tribal, and
7th person voted out of fans versus favorites. Matt, the tribe has spoken.
See you guys.
as we slide into episode 7, Philip has a hate stick for Corinne. Why? I don't know. He seems to get along with all the other attractive women on the season, but I guess Corinne just rubs him the wrong way, and he has wanted her gone since Francesca left, if not before that. He says all this to Cochran, and Cochran's like, Philip, just simmer down. It's okay. If Corinne goes before the merge, the other favorites will see that we got rid of one of our own, and they're gonna think that we betrayed them. Let's just wait until later. That is a good point. There will be plenty of time to vote off Corinne. It's not like she's a challenge beast. Their tribe then gets tree mail, and Philip is like, oh yeah, another chance for me to be the hero for my tribe. Oh my gosh. So he arm wrestles Cochran, easily beats him, feels really good about himself as a result, and Cochran says, it's all by design. I wanted to make Philip feel good. Okay, Cochran. But then, get this, they lose reward thanks to Philip, and it isn't even close. So we go to the immunity challenge, where they lose again, thanks to Philip. What the heck is going on around here? Well, back at camp,
I didn't want to win that challenge.
You're gonna say that.
It hit me. Once I saw it was the grappling hook, I'll just make a gallant effort, but it just won't quite be where it needs to be, because I would have tossed it slightly differently. I wouldn't have been winding it up like that.
It all makes sense. We had to throw the challenge in order to get rid of one of these fans, or else we were doomed. You can't make up this level of delusion, and that's what excites me about playing with Philip. I think he's actually at this point convinced that he threw the challenge.
The male lion with his mane, when he comes across another pride of lions, of females, and there's cubs, and the male isn't around, what does he do? He kills all the cubs. You know why? Because those are potential rivals.
Yeah.
So today,
Taking out the cubs.
taking out the cubs.
It's just, it's absurd.
Okay, I mean, come on. Sure, buddy, sure. You totally threw that challenge on purpose. Philip is out here playing 4D chess, rewriting history, of course. So at Tribal Council, they vote off the vanilla soft serve Julia, and episode 8 brings with it the merge. The merge sees the favorites tribe up 8-4, so the fans don't stand a chance. At least that's the way the story's portraying it to us. Tree Mail indicates that the immunity challenge will be the gross food eating competition, which is awesome for us as viewers. But Eddie, he doesn't think it's awesome. He's one of the fans and he's worried that eating gross food on TV will hurt his chances with the ladies back home. Amazing, Eddie, amazing. Cochran says, I'm at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the ladies, so this can only improve my chances and make me look dangerous. So at the immunity challenge, Cochran makes it through heat after heat until it is only him versus Malcolm, which Jeff says is basically David versus Goliath. Jeff loves Cochran so much, as you will plainly see throughout the rest of the game. So when he faces off against Goliath,
Go. This is gonna go fast.
Cochran pulls it out for immunity.
You're gonna touch my shoulders. It's gonna be incredible.
that's gotta be Cochran's only individual win this season, right? There's no way he's beating anyone else at anything on a physical level. But good for him. Dawn then talks to him and drops a surprise. I mean, I guess it's kind of a surprise. She says Corinne wants Philip out, which is not completely unexpected, but Corinne, this is the unexpected part, is apparently flipping on all the favorites, not just Philip. Oh, interesting. So Cochran talks to Corinne and...
I'm just like upset because I shouldn't be getting targeted this early on. I think that splitting votes, I feel like it's gonna cost me my life in this game. My desperation here is to convince the favorites to all vote together, take out either Brenda or Sherry. I really don't care. You know, we'll blindside somebody.
There's no long-term thinking in Corinne's game. It's always who has just, hurt me or insulted me in some way. They need to go. You aggravate Corinne and she wants your head on a platter.
If it's at all possible, if we can just take Sherry out, it's an easy vote. It brings us down by one fan, and then we can go for whoever you want. I can't afford this first vote to be a waste of one of the idols. No split votes. Let's feed the fire for Sherry. Sherry is a dumpster fire.
At Tribal Council, Corinne is voted off and does not make the jury. Episode 9 sees Cochran's team win the reward challenge, and with that comes a picnic preceded by rappelling down a waterfall, which is super cool. Cochran says, I rarely leave my apartment or Twitter, so I'm learning to embrace doing new things. The show just loves him so much. But more importantly is that while enjoying their feast,
last fans versus favorite was dominated by women and began to... Yeah. How cool would it be though if it was dominated by guys?
The guys get all the women out.
Seriously, Cochran, 3 warriors, 3 united votes. We're a voting block.
Survivor's all about there's like a handful of legendary moves people have never forgotten. You want to be one of those.
Survivor big moments. I like that. Reynold, Eddie, and Michael must not know me that well if they think that emphasizing the testosterone unity between us, and we're men and we hate women, and we're gonna, slap each other with towels in the locker room and chug beers. That doesn't work with me. It doesn't appeal to me at all. I don't want to be engaging in any sort of masculine tomfoolery with these numbskulls.
Eric is right there, and we don't hear his opinion on an all-male Black Widow Brigade. He's the only one here that was present for the Black Widow Brigade. Wild, just some wild storytelling choices this season. But like Cochran, Eric has toned down his game from last time, except he has been ridiculed over the years. So he's basically done a 180 from Micronesia, and I don't blame him. Dude does nothing because he's afraid of being made fun of. Brenda then wins immunity, and here's yet another person who has done a complete 180 from last time. You see, last time Brenda was basically a lost Black Widow Brigade member, but this time she's decided to be humble and nice.
Whenever I go off of myself, especially in the water, when I'm looking at the wall, or I'm just looking into outer space, I'm getting grounded. I'm remembering why I'm here. I'm always reminding myself never to get too overconfident, but be confident in my moves at the same time.
I can't get a read on Brenda, and 99% of this game is getting a read on your tribe mate. She sits and stares at a rock wall for 18 hours without any sort of external stimulus, to actually be looking at. So I don't know what to make of her. I feel like for Brenda.
I know.
To get there and win. I mean, she'd just sit in the ocean staring at a rock wall.
I know.
combing her hair and scraping pots. That's all she did. If her strategy is to drive everyone insane by freaking people out by staring at rock walls and scratching a pot for hours, mission accomplished. Brilliant. That deserves $1 million.
I agree.
Now, unlike Eric, I would argue Bren is doing a lot more than what is being shown, and I do argue that in her story video. So, who should be voted off next? Believe it or not, Malcolm has defected into an alliance with Reynold and Eddie, the three amigos, and Cochran wants Malcolm gone. But Andrea is freaking out and being paranoid because she believes that Eddie told her Malcolm has an idol. Spoiler warning, Malcolm does not have an idol. We go to Tribal, where the three amigos say that everyone here is just a puppet for Philip Shepard. Are they? Well, put a pin in that one. So they all vote, and
if anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
Hold up, Reynolds. They all voted for me.
So Reynolds gave his idol to Malcolm. Any votes cast for Malcolm will not count. First vote, Andrea. 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 3 votes Andrea. Reynolds. 3 votes Andrea, 1 vote Reynolds. Michael. 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 5 votes Michael, 3 votes Andrea, 1 vote Reynolds. 10th person voted out, and the first member of our jury, Michael. Michael, tribe has spoken.
Well, of course, I'm rooting for Eddie and Reynold. I think they're in a tough spot. They're truly underdogs right now. I'd like to see Cochran do something out there. I'd like to see, he feels like he's coming into his own a little bit. He's kind of very social. I think he could have a strong game. My boy Cochran, Eddie, and Reynold, those are the guys I'm pulling for right now.
as we go through the rest of the season, we're going to be tracking what the jury says once they're voted out of the game, as it will be very relevant to the end of this tale. But I must give props to Andrea. The show painted her as crazy, and as it turned out, while Malcolm didn't have an idol, Reynold had an idol, and he played it from Malcolm. So the safe vote Michael was the correct call, and Andrea was on that. Back at camp, the three amigos say again that they are glad they're not puppets for Philip Shepard, as we then cut immediately to everyone being puppets for Philip Shepard and the Stealth Arrest Alliance. Minus Cochran. I want to point out that he is shown to do this right after that scene. Yeah, clearly indicating that he is the only one in Stealth Arrest to not be fully buying into this nonsense. Even if other people are not fully buying into it, Cochran is the only one shown to not be buying into it. His team wins reward, and he says he needed this to refuel himself to continue his challenge dominance. So, who is being voted off next? Reynold. So of course, Reynold wins immunity, and back at camp, Malcolm finds an idol in front of the Stealth Arrest Alliance, meaning only Eddie is unsafe within the three amigos. The plan is to split the vote between Malcolm and Eddie just in case he does not play an idol. So when they go to tribal council, the three amigos drop a bomb.
Myself, Eddie, and Reynold are on the outs. We're kind of like we have the plague or something. But this is supposed to be a game, so we figured we'd do something about it. And tonight we're gonna try to. So this is the other immunity idol I've been hanging on to. I'm giving it to Eddie.
The looks on faces, Andrea can't even look up. It's like I want an individual pause button, and I want to hit pause on the other 9.
I know for one vote, we've got control.
Oh my God.
One of the 7 of this very tight group are going home. So we're gonna be safe tonight, but tomorrow morning, the situation's not really changed. We're gonna be down 6-3. We understand that, but we'll just throw it out there. The 3 of us are voting for Philip.
Holy crap, Malcolm, Eddie, and Reynold are all safe, and they are targeting Philip Shepard. And you know what? That's not a big loss. Losing Philip is just fine. They may win the battle with this move, but they won't win the war. So they all vote, and
if anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
Yeah.
You. Eddie and Malcolm both played their idols. Any votes cast for Eddie or Malcolm will not count. First vote, Malcolm. Does not count. Eddie does not count. Malcolm does not count. Eddie does not count. Eddie does not count. Eddie does not count. Philip, 1 vote Philip. 2 votes Philip. 11th person voted out, the second member of our jury. Philip, the tribe has spoken.
Thank you.
while this is not super relevant to the story, I found it interesting that in Philip's exit words, he hopes that this time around, his edit is nice and positive, which it wasn't. And on Ponderosa, they further dunk on him as they show a montage of him being terrible at basketball. But something I need to mention is that Philip did not get 3 votes against him. He got 4. Eric voted with the 3 amigos, and Cochran is confused as to why. We then have the Survivor auction where Reynolds buys an item, is offered to swap. Cochran says, "You gotta swap in this situation, it's the Monty Hall problem," and Reynolds ignores him and ends up with only 1 slice of pizza, showing that Cochran the nerd knows his stuff. We then see Malcolm buy an idol clue, which sucks, but Cochran does net himself a challenge advantage, which hopefully will help. Just depends on the challenge. But as the auction closes out, everyone gets some peanut butter, and Sherry lets Cochran lick some off her fingers. Oh, a little reminiscent of Eric and Suri back in Micronesia. And Jeff is loving this so much because it's his baby boy Cochran. This auction is huge for him based on everything you've heard so far, but it gets better as he gets his letter from home as well, and that makes him break down in tears, showing a side of him I don't think we really have seen so far. Cochran is just usually cracking jokes and putting down others, so to see him cry gives him some much needed depth. But now it is time for the immunity challenge, and for Cochran to use the advantage he got.
At any point in the immunity challenge, you may move your hand up 2 knots, giving you a significant advantage.
Brenda steps off and is the first one out. Eric drops out of the challenge. We are now down to 7. In this last round, there will be no knot underneath you. Now it's just rope, except for Cochran. That 2-knot advantage coming into play. Oh, Sherry, can't do it. Sherry's out of the challenge. Just like that, Malcolm's out of the challenge. She can't hold on any longer. We're down to 4. Dawn cannot hang on any longer. Reynolds is out. We are down to 2. It is a showdown.
Hold on.
Hold it, Eddie.
He cannot. Eddie's out. Cochran wins immunity.
But this
Cochran,
hasn't lost his thrill.
with his 2nd individual immunity win, safe tonight at Tribal Council, guaranteed a 1 in 8 shot at winning this game.
The irony of Cochran winning immunities when last time he was targeted by Ozzy for sucking in challenges is something else, but let's be real. That 2nd win, it basically comes with an asterisk. He's no Mike Tyson, he's Cochran. If Jason can win 2 immunities, anybody can win 2 immunities. But Malcolm does not find an idol, and his time is finally up as Cochran votes and says Malcolm leaving will be incredibly delicious. So Jeff reveals the vote, and
First vote, Reynolds. Malcolm. Andrea, 1 vote each. Reynolds. Malcolm. Andrea, we're tied again. Reynolds. Andrea, we're tied. Malcolm. We have a 3-way tie. We're gonna re-vote. Reynolds, Malcolm, and Andrea, you won't vote. Everybody else, you can only vote for one of those 3. Malcolm. Malcolm. 12th person voted out, the 3rd member of our jury. Malcolm. Malcolm, tribe has spoken.
the 3 amigos are crumbling and Reynolds is next. Cochran says the favorites have all the power, but he wants it all. He wants to suck up all the power from them. And he says this would be something his mother would be scared of. Yeah, okay, Cochran. So we go to the immunity challenge, and Jeff is blown away that his baby boy is not wearing a shirt. And he's like a proud dad with how much Cochran has changed and grown in 1 year's time. He's like, whoa, last time Cochran would have never taken a shirt off. Now look at him. It's like, come on, Jeff. He clearly has his favorites. Colby, Boston Rob, and now Cochran. It's so plainly obvious. Andrea wins immunity, but in the process gets mad that Brenda didn't just let her win. Entitled much? Back at camp, Eric finds a hidden immunity idol and just hands it to Andrea. Cochran says, has this man learned nothing about giving away immunity to attractive women? So they all vote at Tribal, and
13th person voted out, the 4th member of our jury. Reynolds, need to bring me your torch. Reynolds, the tribe has spoken.
I bet Eddie goes next. They're still not going to make a move.
I think they have to now. They have to now.
They have to.
Or else, like, the biggest... Andrea's smart enough to do it now. I know Cochran knows what to do, but as you see, he's very indecisive. I think John Cochran has an excellent chance. Maybe Dawn and Andrea might come together one more time to get him out of the game, because if he gets in the final, he could very well win.
People think that Dawn's a threat. I think Dawn's like a faux threat. Like, everyone's like, if Dawn makes it to... No one wants to go to the end with Dawn. Dawn hasn't done anything in this game. Dawn's a good person who's got 6 kids, but this isn't like find a good person who adopts children and give them $1 million. This is Survivor.
Interesting. Philip said Cochran is indecisive, but then he says he can win, and we learn that there's at least some distaste for Dawn, who has been an emotional wreck all season long. Andrea then talks to Cochran and says, we need to get out Brenda or Dawn next, and Cochran says, no way. And in a risky move, he tells Brenda and Dawn what Andrea said. Now this is risky because if Brenda or Dawn reveals this to Andrea, that Cochran says that, hey-oh, Andrea has an idol and Cochran could go. Eric wins immunity, promises not to give it away to any hot girls this time, and at Tribal Council.
First vote, Brenda. Andrea. Andrea.
What?
Brenda. We're tied. 14th person voted out and the 5th member of our jury.
Oh, you guys.
Andrea, Travis spoken.
You were playing hard and they knew it. Cochran always knew that you were the threat, and so did Dawn.
I think I speak for everyone that we're elated that you're here to join the fun.
Now I just want Eddie to go to the end somehow.
It depends on who you are for who needs to go home. If you're running the show right now, like I would imagine Cochran and Dawn might be sitting on top of this thing, Eddie needs to go home. If the people on the bottom finally get up the nerve to make a move and take control of this game, I think Cochran comes up.
Wow, the jury is talking a lot, and I do mean a lot. Andrea wants Eddie to get to the end, and Philip and Malcolm both are giving credit to Dawn and Cochran. Back at camp, Cochran asks Eddie if he were to win immunity, who would go next? And Eddie's like, that'd probably be you, Cochran. And Cochran's like, whoa, is that you saying that? Or is that like everybody saying that? And Eddie's like, no, that's everybody saying that. And before you think Eddie's just making stuff up or is stupid, he's not. We immediately cut over to Brenda, who's like, hey, we gotta vote off Cochran next. And she says this right to Dawn's face, and Dawn does not just sit there and disagree with her. Just like that, Cochran is an option to go. We then see that the next challenge is for love as everyone gets their videos from home, and we learn some backstory on Cochran and his family. As it may have been already plainly obvious for us to see, Cochran and his family, they never went camping. It didn't really never spent time outside like he has in Survivor, if that makes sense. I know, what a shocker. When he sees his mom again, he cries. And Brenda wins reward, picks Dawn to go with her, but then plot twist. Brenda can give everyone else reward or keep it for herself and Dawn and one other person. She lets everyone else have it and went on said reward.
Summer of 2000, I'm 13 years old, sitting on the couch at home with my mom watching Survivor Borneo. Over the next 13 years, still been watching it, never missed an episode. You know, I've gone through my first kiss, puberty, a little bit more than that. And this is the culmination of 13 years of loving this and loving this with somebody I love and getting to share this now with somebody I love. You can't beat it. My dad's a neurologist, kind of a bookish guy. He's wearing sunglasses all of a sudden and he's working the grill like an old pro. I think he was putting up kind of an act to seem like a cool dude when he's anything but. I mean, he's basically me in 40 years. I don't know if he's gone Hollywood or what's going on, but he's flipping burgers and poking at hot dogs on a grill. Like, since when are we doing that, Dad?
Did Cochran's dad plan on trying to be cool, or was he always this way and Cochran never noticed? His mother also apparently told him that Brenda giving the reward to everyone else will help her win the game, and Cochran agrees. So they all vote at Tribal, and...
First vote, Eddie. Eddie. 2 votes, Eddie. Brenda. Brenda. We're tied. 15th person voted out and the 6th member of our jury. Brenda.
I was honest with you guys. I was genuine with you guys.
Brenda, the Travis spoken. Time for you to go.
It hurts. Last time I would just ran around cold-hearted and really had no regard for anyone's feelings. And this time it was all about that. It was all about that. It was about making real connections with people, getting to know people for real, and really protecting good people who I thought were really, really good people. Eric and Dawn, and I don't regret any things that I did for them. I don't regret it. I'm not mad at them. I'm just hurt right now. That's it. And I really believe Dawn, and remember what I told you, Joe, what I did?
Yeah, we're gonna need some context here. Brenda, Dawn, and Eric had a final 3 deal. But more importantly is that in episode 10, Dawn lost her teeth in the lake and said over and over again, if I don't get my teeth back, I'm going to quit this game. I'm dead serious. And Dawn was dead serious based on everything we saw. So Brenda, while remaining calm and cool with Dawn's game literally in her hands, she didn't have to go do this, gets the teeth out of the lake, and her and Dawn make a strong emotional connection right then and there on top of the connection they already had. Brenda held Dawn's game in her hand when she found those teeth. So when we go to Ponderosa,
You know, appearances versus reality with Dawn. What she preaches ain't what she practices.
And you're not mad right now, give yourself a couple of days.
I'm not mad.
Give yourself a couple of days. It's true. It's true. You're going to be upset with her.
It's been said at Ponderosa so far.
You know, for some of these people, they have no heart, regardless of how they talk about how many children they have and they've adopted and, you know, referring to Dawn, I am. I guarantee you that Eric told Dawn, Eric Dawn.
Yeah.
I think he probably told Dawn that.
We were all there together, the 3 of us.
But then she certainly didn't want that, because that would have been the logical thing for her to do. In other words, she can't beat Cochran.
I felt like, look, Dawn, this is our moment, and my mom liked Dawn on the show, so I wanted my dad to meet her. And I wanted him to go home and be like, I had a bonding experience with Dawn. I wanted to talk about the retainer thing with my dad and be like, I felt like, because he knows my mom freaks out, I'm like, I felt like mommy was there when I was hugging her, and I'm like, this was the sign that I needed, that this was my main alliance. That day was when I came up with the plan.
people are now over Dawn. It isn't just Reynolds anymore. Basically, any goodwill Dawn had has completely disappeared, and the jury is pro Brenda, anti Dawn. As you all saw in my Brenda story video, this was huge for Brenda as a person, and it will have an impact on Cochran's story.
Survivor Finale Sunday. Only 5 castaways remain. Brain, Braun, Sherry, and Dawn.
Every day I'm paranoid. I have to win. They've totally underestimated me.
But a medical emergency
This game just got rocked again.
will knock it down to 4. Don't miss the thrilling Survivor season finale.
It's gonna be a crazy finish.
And live reunion show, CBS Sunday, 8, 7 Central.
Do Sherry and Dawn not have brains? Is that what the show's telling us? That is something else. And believe it or not, it did air on national TV right before the finale. Jeff kicks off the finale by saying his boy Cochran is an all-around threat who dominates challenges and the game. He dominates challenges? He won 2, and one of those is with the help of a challenge advantage. So basically he won 1, and then another one is with an asterisk. But does that really matter? No, the show is hyping up Cochran, and they clearly want us to root for him. But as the finale starts, plot twist. Eric collapses as they leave tribal council, and it is determined that he needs to be pulled from the game at the final 5. Again, Eric leaves at the final 5. Dude cannot catch a break. So when Eric goes to Ponderosa,
I am 110% rooting for Eddie.
I can't believe it, but I'm pulling for Eddie. Eddie's the underdog story.
I would love to see Eddie win the challenge. I would love to see Dawn or Sherry go home.
just like that, we're in the final 4. Cochran and Eddie shake hands and agree to go to the final 3 with Sherry, and at this point, unless he is voted off, I don't think Cochran can lose. The jury does not respect Sherry. They definitely don't respect Dawn anymore, and Eddie, well, Eddie does have some respect on the jury, but he's been too concerned with girls all season to really play Survivor in a way that should impress a lot of people. Cochran then wins a reward challenge that nets him an advantage in the next immunity challenge. Nice, and him and Dawn agree not to vote each other off. Cochran is lying to someone. I mean, I guess he could go to the final 3 with Dawn and Eddie and not really backstab anyone. That is an option, but then Cochran tells us that Dawn has every right to be paranoid because he might be cutting her next. Dang, dude, dang. Are you just talking or are you being for real? So at the final immunity challenge,
Cochran wins!
Oh my gosh!
Final immunity is guaranteed a spot at the final tribal council.
Cochran with his 3rd individual immunity win, 4th individual challenge win. You are in a very elite group right now.
I told you I should be among the Donaldsons and Marianas of the world, and now I'm doing it, right?
So this goes back to day 1, the first time you played when you said, please call me Cochran.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I proved myself last time, but I wasn't aware of what I could prove until I played this time around.
yep, Cochran has this in the bag. No one can beat him now. I know. It's bad storytelling to sit here and be like, oh, well, we know who's going to win the game before the final tribal council, but let's be real. who else is going to win the game? As you may recall, Cochran wrote a prize-winning paper about the Survivor jury system and says even Harvard has not prepared him for this. And Survivor, it's just that difficult. I mean, come on, Cochran. He knows exactly what the show wants to hear. But the mean streak he had in season 23 pops out its ugly head here again when he says, well, I guess it's up to me to decide who gets second place and $100,000. Should it be Dawn, who I think is crazy paranoid? Should it be Sherry, who's just a goat to be dragged to the end? Or should it be Eddie, who is chauvinistic? That's what Cochran says. Well, when they all voted tribal.
First vote, Dawn. Eddie. 2 votes, Eddie. 17th person voted out, and the 8th and final member of our jury, Eddie. Eddie, trap spoke.
I think Sherry has a 0% chance of winning, which is why she is going to the final 3. I actually think Cochran's pretty much got this thing on lock at this point. So, I'm excited for him. He's a great guy.
At this point, when we're looking at the jury, who's pro Dawn and Sherry? That's not a joke, I'm legitimately asking. Who's pro Dawn and Sherry? Well, we know he has this in the bag. I kind of already indicated that. So how impressive can Cochran make this victory for himself? He starts off Final Tribal by saying,
socially, I consider myself a socially awkward person. I have anxiety, but somehow I kind of fell into the role of like therapist. When paranoia was rampant around camp, I would step in and try to be a calming force, which is unusual for me. And strategically, I'm proud of myself. And I've seen every season of Survivor. I've never seen a collection of threats like this. And I know I can't out-muscle. I know I can't out-charm. I don't even think I can really out-strategize anybody, but I can beat people in timing. And that's what this game has been for me, is timing. Whenever a threat emerged, I would strike before I could be struck at. I've lied along the way, I've deceived along the way, and I'm proud of it, and I want to own it, and I want you to be aware why I think I played the best game here.
That's a good strategy, actually. He builds the jury up and does not place himself as a superior player to any of them, keeping their egos intact, but leans into the fact that he simply just timed his moves better. Honestly, this is a good tactic. Future Survivor players who are watching this should copy Cochran's Final Tribal homework and change it up just a little bit. This is a winning strategy. This is good stuff. Malcolm is the first one we see, and he ignores Sherry and says basically, it's between Cochran and Dawn for my vote. He says, Cochran, how exactly were you better than me at this game? And Cochran says he utilized his insecurities to help him time his moves better than everyone else because he was just so insecure about what everyone was doing. Brilliant. Philip is next, and he publicly revokes. I can't believe I'm saying this. Philip is next. We gotta stick with this. Philip is next, and he publicly revokes Sherry of being a part of Stealth or Us. Why? I don't know, but it's hilarious. He says, Dawn, you were too emotional for me. Ironic coming from Philip, and he praises Cochran while saying he was a class act. The irony continues when Eric, who did almost nothing all game, tells Sherry, you did almost nothing all game, and then gets onto her for it. Eddie is the next juror, and he asks,
if you put yourself in this situation, you're at the bar with the 3 amigos, me, Reynolds, and Malcolm. Where do you see yourself?
I'm at the bar with them. I'm telling you that right now. No hesitation. 2 years ago, I would get like panic attacks going to bars or parties. Now I feel comfortable doing it. I think it's been manifest in the way I've played the game this time, and it'll be especially apparent when we hit up a bar and, I'm going to be sitting next to you, but we're going to be slightly different because I'm 2 women on each side of me, so it's going to be a slight physical distance. But no, I'm being serious. I wouldn't hang with you guys.
Cochran is such a liar. Remember when he said the waterfall challenge? He either lied there or he's lying here. But it is what Eddie wants to hear, and that is what is most important in this moment. Michael is next, and he says Dawn and Cochran made many of the same moves, and yet Dawn for some reason is being painted as the villain of the two. Interesting. Cochran jumps on this opportunity to bury Dawn and says her paranoia was crippling to live with around camp, and he had to be her therapist, which was exhausting. Cochran strikes a nerve here, in a good way. Many times this season, we heard people complain about Dawn's paranoia and how she freaked out over nothing, so this resonates well. Reynolds is next, and he says Dawn seemed disingenuous to him all game. Andrea then asks Cochran which animal he played like in this game, to which Cochran compares himself to a chameleon due to how well he blended into every social situation, which I can buy. But then comes the big one. Brenda comes up and talks to Dawn, and
When you were like, Brenda, I'm going to pull myself from the game if I don't get my retainer back.
Yeah.
And I said, no. I said, you're staying in this game, Dawn. I realized afterwards, I had Dawn's fate in the game literally in my hands. Tell me, would you really have given it up if you didn't have your teeth back? Something cosmetic.
No, I wouldn't have.
I need you to go beyond words this time, and I need you to prove it to me. I want you to take out your teeth, Dawn.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I want you to do
I don't
that.
understand how that...
I had your fate in my hand that day.
Okay.
And you're telling me, no, you didn't, Brenda. I would have stayed. It really wasn't a big deal.
If you're asking me to take them out and like humiliate myself, I'm happy to do that because truthfully,
no talking, let's
I'm
do
happy
action.
to do it. There they are.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, Brenda is hurt, and the jury is pro Brenda and anti Dawn. Now, we all know Cochran has this in the bag, but did anyone actually vote for Sherry or Dawn? Well, we're about to find out.
First vote, Cochran. Cochran. 2 votes, Cochran. Cochran. That's 3 votes, Cochran. Cochran. 4 votes, Cochran. The winner of Survivor Fans versus Favorites, Cochran.
So let's break this down. How is Cochran as a character and as a strategist? Unlike last time, Cochran made no big moves in my mind and subsequently played a much more subdued game. Like Eric and Brenda, really. He toned down his quirkiness and played a lot safer and a lot smarter. What did that result in? The second ever perfect win on Survivor. Cochran got 0 votes against him all game and then received every single vote from the jury to win. Only JT before him accomplished this, and it makes me wonder, is it more impressive that JT did it on his first run or that Cochran did it against half a cast of all-stars? Aside from literally a couple of people, no one seriously considered voting him off. What is even wilder is that, remember, this was filmed only 1 year after South Pacific, and to compare how Cochran learned from last time to how Brandon Hance learned from last time just shows how wildly different these people are. Out of 30 character moments shown on the show, 23 were heroic and 7 were villainous, making Cochran a hero character on Survivor Caramoan. And out of 36 strategic moments shown on the show, 31 were smart and 5 were dumb, making Cochran a smart strategist on Survivor Caramoan. Thank you for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. I'll see you all next time.